No, no, no. Definitely not those. The two people speaking don't. He said everybody else has like not the two people speaking. Me too. I saw my interview yesterday. I know. I went right to the football practice. Okay, so we're going to get started here. So, good morning. My name is Brandon Freestad. I am the Emergency Management Coordinator for Fairview Township. On August 10th, at approximately 5 p.m., the Fairview Township Fire Department, along with mutual aid partners, was dispatched to a water rescue on the Yellow Breeches Creek. At that time, we began a mission to find a missing 10-year-old boy on the creek. Today, I can tell you that we have accomplished that mission. We have found the child that was here, and it was an important mission for us to accomplish, both for the family and for the responders. There was approximately 250 responders from 2 states and 7 counties that assisted in the search for this missing child. Approximately 1 mile from where the child put into the creek is where we located the individual. It was at the beginning and in the area of the debris pile that we had been searching for the last day. At approximately 8:36 this morning, the child was extricated and was turned over to the York County coroner. Of the 250 responders, there are some key agencies that our agency would like to specifically thank. They include the Fairview Township Fire Department, the Fairview Township Police, Fairview Township EMS, Newberry Township Police Department, the PA Fish and Boat Commission, and Lower Allen Township Fire Department. They have been more than accommodating for any requests that we have made, things that we have needed to accomplish this mission. They have been integral to making sure that we have accomplished that. As of right now, we continue to be supported by the York County Office of Emergency Management. There are still efforts going on out there on the bridge, out there on the dam, for continued cleanup of some debris that is out there. That is going to continue. That is unrelated to the search. The search at this point is over. Our incident is concluded. We continue to interact with the family today, and when we notified them that we had located their child that was missing, they expressed extreme gratitude towards all of the responders. And we would like to express extreme gratitude to everybody that came out and assisted our agencies in this search. This provided a resolution for all of our responders. This provided a resolution for the family, and we were able to turn the body back over to the family for them to continue to grieve, and we grieve with them. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Parker from the PA Fish and Boat Commission to give you some information from his aspect. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. So at this time, on behalf of the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, again, I wanted to echo what Brandon said and just thank all of the first responders that have been on this scene for 5 days. It's been a very long week. Emotions have been running high, and just want to express our gratitude to those men and women here in our community that have taken all of the time out of their schedules personally, not out of only a sense of duty and just because it's their job, but because they wanted to be here and they believed that getting to this point was the most important part. of this operation from the beginning. Our thoughts go out to the family of the victim, and at this point, the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission is now the agency that is responsible for the ongoing investigation into what we have now as a confirmed boating-related fatality here in Pennsylvania. There's a number of days the way that this investigation will work is that once a fatality is confirmed that involved recreational boating, our Waterways Conservation Officer will conduct an investigation which will first include preliminary information, things that many of you already know, including the date, the time, the location, water conditions, some safety information such as life jacket wear. In some cases, medical conditions are considered, toxicology reports may be conducted. At this time, again, this is very preliminary in our investigation, which essentially begins today. To this point, we've been involved as a support agency on the periphery here as these first responders have conducted their operation, which is now concluded. Information about the investigation will be through our office at the Fish and Boat Commission, as well as through the York County Coroner, who we'll be working in cooperation with to provide some more information as we get further down the road here. Interviews would be conducted with potential witnesses, family members along the way. Those things can take, there's no standard timeline as for how long things take, and could be days, weeks, or even months. I will say that at this point, I've been asked the question, so I'll answer the question right now. Our Bureau of Law Enforcement has investigated 11 recreational boating fatalities across the state of Pennsylvania this year in 2024. To give you a specific number, there is a definition of what is considered a boating-related fatality, and sometimes that information will change based on the investigation. So, were we to include this incident among those, this would be our 10th boating-related fatality across the state of Pennsylvania this year. An incident which occurred earlier this year had been disqualified through the course of the investigation because it was determined that boating was a secondary factor in that fatality. So, at this time, Brandon, I believe, and I will take some questions if anyone has them.
Sir, could you give us an indication, if you can, as to how the boy's body was detected? In other words, did it float up on its own, or was it uncovered under debris? What are the circumstances leading up to the discovery of the body?
So as far as the details of how the body was discovered and all of that, that will be included in the Fish and Boat Commission's report. We're not going to release any of that information at this time, just for the respect of the family.
Was the child, I know this gentleman mentioned whether he was wearing a life jacket or not. Can you tell us now whether or not he was wearing a life jacket?
I cannot. I'll let Mike address anything with that.
Yeah, it becomes part of our investigation to determine whether there was life jacket wear, whether there are regulations which require life jackets for certain individuals on certain size boats. And as part of the investigation, we'll be determining whether or not any life jackets were present or being worn. But at this time, it's too early to tell. We don't have that. We don't have the information based on the availability of a report to release that.
Did you recover the kayak?
I don't have the answer to that question.
Sorry. Unknown this time.
I know he was with, I believe it was like 4 adults, 3 children, something like that. Were they all his immediate family, or was he with friends?
It was a mix of family and friends.
Mike, could you share with us the feelings of you and your other first responders, the sense of relief that you're all feeling now as a result that your mission is now confirmed?
Personally, I wouldn't want to take any credit for what the first responders here behind me with the fire department, the police department, our river rescue agencies across the area have done. My role in this has been to support them in these efforts, providing information. But I will say that the toll that it takes on someone who spends this much time in the water under these conditions in the summer, under the stress of current within the water, wearing heavy equipment, knowing what they're likely looking for and the potential to find that, that's something that isn't taken lightly. These folks are highly trained, highly professional, and they continue to do their job no matter how high the emotions run throughout that process. At times they may question, when is this going, how long is this going to last? Can I take any more of this? And the answer is they're going to stay out there until the job is done. That is what they do, and that's why I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. But we're so fortunate to have people in our community that are willing to do this, that are willing to go into the places that many of us would, flee from, out of just the danger and the conditions that they might have to be in the long hours. So my hat goes off to all the responders, more than 200 of them from multiple counties across South Central Pennsylvania and beyond that have come here to assist.
Mike, are we able to, you guys know, were the other people that this boy was with, were they wearing life jackets?
From my understanding, there were some life jackets present within the group. However, we don't know the circumstances of who was wearing them and who wasn't. So again, all those things are throughout the course of the investigation. We hope to be able to answer soon.
Do you know how much kayaking experience they had? And also, do you know where in PA they were from?
So at this point, I don't have any personal information regarding the family that I'm able to release, other than I did confirm yesterday that the family is from Pennsylvania, though not from this immediate area. Speaking of Fairview Township, York County, so they are from Pennsylvania, but they're not from this immediate area. And again, in a brief conversation, I was told that the family and the child had previously kayaked, that this was not the first time they had ever been out on the water.
That
So,
includes the victim.
including the victim.
Can you talk a little bit to the conditions on Saturday, though, and what those conditions, being on water like that, means, even for someone who might have kayaking experience?
So I would like to speak more generally about what the conditions were across Pennsylvania as opposed to specifically here on the Yellow Breeches. But you could imagine the conditions were quite similar if you've seen other areas around. If you've crossed the Susquehanna River, it continues to be high, running fast and muddy, low visibility, lots of debris running down through the water. Similarly, as we had the storm that passed up and down the East Coast with heavy amounts of rain, following an extended period of what would be considered basically drought conditions and low water. Much of that heavy rain poured directly into the streams, causing them to rise quickly, and visibility became poor very quickly as well. Along with that, when you consider what wind and the power of water and the force of water can do, trees that are, the reason people flock to areas like this is because of the natural beauty. Because boating is a great, fun, recreational activity that families can enjoy. It's a way to get away without having to go too far. We're blessed with lots and lots of water here in Pennsylvania. However, those hazards that are always present, that are below the surface of the water, and that will enter the waterway, can't be underestimated. Trees can fall into the water. Rocks that are present when the water levels are lower are now submerged and are not visible. Cloudy water conditions, fast moving. A lot of people will set out from one access area to another, expecting that their path may take them an hour or two to get there, and under high water conditions can take them much more quickly downstream. So the added stress of that, even an experienced boater should always be following a few basic steps before each of their adventures, and among them is always wearing a life jacket. Never boating while intoxicated, certainly keeping an eye out for changing weather conditions, considering the path that you're about to take and being familiar with the waterway and any existing hazards such as debris or dams that exist along the water, and then also just letting someone know where you plan to be boating and when you expect to return home. So we know that plans can change when you're having fun, but if you let someone know who's not with your group that you plan to leave at this time and get out of the water at this time, if something happens in between, give them an update, then that's going to help people like us get out there and help you if you run into trouble.
Was the family?
Will you be releasing the identity of the victim at any point?
Not through my office at this point, but that information will be forthcoming at some time.
Was family of the young boy, did they join the volunteers in the search, or were they along the creek during the 5-day search operation?
Eh, Turn that back over to Brandon.
So the family was present here. We interacted with them every single day, providing them updates. They provided us information that we used to help search, such as type of clothing that he was wearing, such as where he was last seen, the conditions of the water at the time. So while they were not actively searching along the creek with us, they were providing the information for our trained individuals to be out there searching. Multiple times they did offer to help with that, and we reassured them that we have the trained personnel out there to do this, and the best thing for them to do is to continue to provide us information and be here for us to support them in any way that we could.
Was the family here this morning?
The family was here this morning, and we were in constant contact with them this morning, and we updated them with the information that we had as soon as it became available. Again, they were extremely appreciative of the efforts of not just the folks that are here behind me, but the folks that are here behind you right now, and all of the 250 plus individuals that have been here over the course of the last 5 days.
And most of those were volunteers, right?
The vast majority of the people that have been here are volunteer. There are some people that are on paid teams that were here, but the vast majority of the people that were here were all volunteer. And it's just a testament to the volunteer system in Pennsylvania, and we always need more volunteers.
What was the recovery time this morning?
The time of recovery was 8:36.
I know you guys were utilizing those search dogs. Were they a key part of helping them find where the body was located?
So there was not a specific individual resource that was key. Everything was a joint team effort. They were here to support us with the things that we needed to do, and they did that, and we absolutely appreciate their assistance in that. Every person that participated was a key moment or a key member of the team to find the person that we were looking for.
I just have one question for Mike.
Oh, sure.
So Mike, I know during the search you were asking people to avoid the area, just to leave that search up to authorities. But with these conditions possibly still present in the creek, should people still avoid the creek during this time?
So in general, it's difficult to put out a blanket statement to tell people to avoid a waterway based on, experience and conditions that may be varying. You can have a storm, certainly that's isolated in one area that can cause waterways to rise and conditions to become difficult that may not affect another area that's not too far away. However, what we would like to tell people is that if you have plans in your mind and you've planned ahead to go on a boating trip, and you do the research and you've got everything packed and you're ready to go, and you arrive at that location and the conditions aren't within your skill level, you think they look pretty bad, we would ask people to make the decision to put off that boating trip for another time. It's not worth it. At that point, you're dealing with you're toying with life and death, and we want people to make memories and be able to return home so that they can make those boating memories again. Not speaking specifically about this case, there can be conditions that are changing very rapidly that may not even be in the area yet. For instance, if we have we have a storm that, I would say this, the better way to put this would be if you're local and you're able to keep an eye on the waterway that you plan to go boating on, then you're pretty well up on those conditions. But a lot of people like to travel from another area an hour or two to get to a place where they'd like to go boating. Knowing what the weather conditions and what the stream conditions are going to be like when you arrive at that place is very important. So knowing if there was a storm in western Pennsylvania 2 days before, it's important to know that before you travel out there to go fishing, or boating, excuse me. So again, we just want to remind people that weather can change water conditions very rapidly, and if you don't keep that as part of your safety list before you head out, things can become dangerous very quickly.
Are you folks now opening the roads leading to the creek?
Yeah, I think everything's open.
Yeah. All of our efforts are concluded at the finalization of this briefing. All of the roads are reopened already at this time. There is still going to be a contractor that's working out in this area, but there are no additional road closures. And the fire department is at this time not restricting anybody from using the waterways that we were searching. We are finished searching completely.
Is it safe to be on the creek now with a kayak?
I cannot answer that question for you. That would be something for Mike. But we're not restricting people from being in the area that would inhibit us from searching.
Just to reiterate, the safety, to answer a question about whether it's safe to go boating, when you follow that safety checklist, wearing a life jacket, being aware of the weather conditions, having a float plan, not being intoxicated, those things can make your trip always safer. Boating is a fantastic activity. It comes with some risk. If you take care of the safety things in advance and throughout the course of your trip, things should turn out better.
Like, was it 3 adults and 3 kids?
3 adults and 4 juveniles. Yeah,
The victim being one.
correct, among the 4.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all very much. Does anybody that got here a little bit late need